Okay, I'd like to call to order the Westerly Public Schools School Building Subcommittee meeting for Wednesday, August 14th. The time is 6:01. Members present are Chris Lund, Michael Ober, Dr. Mark Garceau, Mark McKinnon, Giuseppe Giacarelli, Kristen Federico, Cindy Kirchhoff, and myself, Justin Hopkins. We also have Deb Reading from Downs, Randall Luther from TSKP, and Ashley Presser from DBVW joining us remotely. The last one, Ashley is. Our first order of business is approval of meeting minutes. We have meeting minutes from our July 10th and July 24th meeting. So these were part of the meeting notification that went out. If there are no modifications to these minutes, we'll entertain a motion to approve, I guess, starting with the July 10th meeting.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Probably somebody who was in attendance. Okay, Kristen. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
None. Any abstentions? Okay, one abstention. Okay, how about the July 24th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motions carry unanimously. Next item on the agenda is public comment. We have no members of the public in attendance. Next item is approval of invoices. Now, Deb, you sent an update. I was out of the office all afternoon. I have not been able to forward it to anybody, so I'm going to rely on your review. And I have no idea how many invoices we have, but
We have quite a few, and I can go through them here.
okay.
I have backup, but I don't think we need to go through that. Tower construction, we have their application for payment number 1, and this is for all work through the end of July. Ashley and I have both gone through their payment application extensively. We have all of their certified payroll to date. They do have some stored material that they're billing for the sanitary, the new septic system. We have voter documentation. We have their COI for bill materials. So I think we've been very thorough with going through on them. Their bill is for $1,664,297.88. That's after 5% retainage has been held. And the breakdown is Dunn's Corner is for $501,901. That's 9.8% of the contract with Springbrook is $1,162,396, and that's for 11% of the contract. But that's the breakdown. 501.1. So it's for tower construction, first application for payment for $1,664,297.88.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this payment application?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Okay. Any further discussion? The only thing that I'll mention is I think we're going to try and get into cadence here of try to get these things out to the rest of the committee a few days in advance here, so that everybody has an opportunity to review these. So, okay. So the next, we need to hold the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay.
Okay, next is commercial roofing. This is application for payment number 2. This is for Springbrook Elementary School roof replacement through July 1st. And the total is $287,470, and that will equal out to 70% of their contract.
Okay. And this is commensurate with the pace of construction and what you and Ashley.
Absolutely. We were out there inspecting last week.
Okay. Any questions to Deb on this one? And if not, we'll entertain a motion to approve this payment.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
We have 2 invoices from DBVW. The first is number 2318-14. That's for architectural services through July for Dunn's Corner in Springbrook Elementary. And The invoice amount is $23,767.
Okay,
And that brings us to 74% of their contract.
any questions to this one, for this one? To Deb? Okay, would anybody like to make that motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries.
Okay, their second invoice is for the Springbrook Elementary School roof replacement. And this again is through July, and that amount is $7,034.38. Brings us to 67% of the contract.
Okay. If there are no questions for this one to Deb, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None.
Okay.
Motion carries.
TSKP invoice number 230601-12. Architectural services for State Street through July in the amount of $12,686.24. Brings us to 77% of their contract.
Okay. Any questions? Any motions?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. Prime Consulting, who is our testing agency. They've been on site out at Dunn's Corner and over at Springbrook. And this is for testing services through July 26th. And their invoice number is 23127, and the amount is $4,649.84.
So I'll just ask, is this the testing agency, or was this the kind of environmental?
No, this is the testing agency. So they're out doing, to date, they've been doing compaction testing. They've been doing some visual inspections, right, Ashley?
Correct.
All right, any other questions to Deb? Would anybody like to make that motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
Okay. Next four invoices I'll group together. These are for Downs. Their invoice is number 11, total amount of $29,165. Quick breakdown is Dunn's Corner, $7,160, Springbrook, $7,160, State Street, $13,395, and Springbrook Roof is $1,450.
if there are no questions, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. I think we're getting to the end here.
We're getting to the end. Our last invoice is from Rhode Island Energy. This is for the new electrical service at Dunn's Corner. And I have to give a nod to Sean. He has a connection over at RIE, and he reached out and he got us over $2,000 off this invoice. So now we're looking at an amount of $39,479.80.
Okay. Any questions? And would anybody like to make a motion?
Motion approved.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. That's it for the invoices.
That's it. And I'll
Okay.
send them all over to you, Cindy, because I know you just wait.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is owner's project manager architect update.
Okay, so, you two wanna draw straws, or would you like to go so you can leave, or would you like to sit through Ashley's? Ashley's got a little bit of talking to do.
Yeah, I got several things to discuss, so maybe Randall should go first.
There you go. First up, TSKP. Going to run through a project and schedule update. We do have our first PCO from O&G, and then we're going to talk about some neighbor concerns and look for your direction.
Excellent. Oh, or you just say that.
I think you gotta click on the PowerPoint. Yeah, there you go.
So you've seen the schedule, it hasn't really changed, but it's been confirmed now from O&G. They provided us their schedule. And it aligns very closely with the schedule that we had anticipated, so that's good. We had a little more detail. Next week, temporary fence will begin to go in. They've already sprayed it out, marked it out with surveyor. They've gone out and looked for some culvert digging.
Dig safe.
Dig safe.
Yeah.
Dig safe's been out. And that'll bring us to a question that will come up in a minute. As they've marked it out, we've run into a little discussion point. The groundbreaking is August 29th. The site contractor will be on site prior to that, and we'll be on stripping, so when people show up, it'll actually look like a construction site for the groundbreaking, so that'll be nice. So I mentioned there's a little discussion point here with the temporary fence. We had two access points, one from the east and one from the west. The contractor's trailer is going to go here, and so they're going to make use of that access point on the west. We call for a temporary fence along that property line. They marked it out, and what has happened is you can kind of see from this aerial photograph. There's the property line, and you can see there's a kind of a tree at the lower right that's hanging kind of in the way, and then these shrubs are also over the property line. So we talked with O&G, and I asked them, can we move the line, the temporary fence just a few feet, at least to save the shrubs, if you need to take it, I said, you have to take it, because there aren't many ways to get in and out of the site. But if a couple feet isn't going to matter to you, then, and it will save the shrubs, let's do that. The tree is going to be a problem. It's a small tree. It's, I don't know, maybe 15 feet tall. It's already been pruned back quite a bit in the past. I think it continues to hang out over, and they keep cutting it back. I think it probably has to go entirely. And so the reason I bring it up, in fact, you can see it in this shot here. It's that one right there. It's kind of way into what will be their access point. Really, the reason I bring it up is O&G is willing to go talk to the neighbor, but they just wanted to run it before us to see what's the protocol we want to follow. Do we want them to make the first approach? Do we want, someone from the building committee, Justin, or how do we want it?
Justin sounds good. Let's.
Yeah.
Have a second.
That's right, all in favor? So that's just, what's the protocol for this? How do we want to do it? I mean, it has to happen soon because they want to get out there next week. So.
Yeah, I think we need to get Sean in the loop here.
Okay.
Just because I think with these kind of interfaces with the community as well, he's a resource. He's expressed to me before. I'm talking about the town manager.
Yep.
He's expressed to me before, when people come to him and he doesn't have all of the information, he can't, he's caught off guard. So I
That's
think.
perfect. You're right. We'll brief him. Do you think he would want to approach, or?
Let's ask him first, and if we need to, we'll just develop a strategy here.
I'm assuming this is the homeowner that we met at our meet and greet.
Oh, I'm assuming it's.
Yes, the one who said, was right there.
Well, I think, so it is like a duplex. I think the one you met, maybe the other side of that. There was a young woman when I stopped by before this meeting, just to kind of get a look at myself. There was a young woman there with a dog going in and out. Maybe the daughter or something, but if she's the tenant, she's not the one who's at the senior center.
Is the tree on the line or?
It's over the line.
Yeah, there's quite a few
Yeah.
things over the line. I think their shed is over the line too.
No, I think I think the shed's okay.
Okay.
Shed's okay. And the shrubs, also are kind of over the line a little bit. But again,
I mean, if at the end of this, if we need to buy a 10-foot tree to plant in its place, we'll do it.
yeah, it's not a specimen tree by
No.
any means. Yeah. So who?
I'll
should
reach
we-
out to Sean first.
Okay,
I'll copy you.
perfect.
Justin, and I'll stay in the loop.
Okay.
And
and
first,
then we'll let
I'll stay in
over.
the loop and we'll see what Sean has to say.
I suspect that's going to also be the protocol for this next issue, which is the same kind of thing. I mentioned the trailer we're showing here, and that's where they intend to put it. They would like to bring a trailer in straight in through here. They had their fence guy looking, it's, you know, the existing fence is old as chain link. He says he can roll that back. They can drive through, they can put it back again. And it would be a lot easier for them, and they don't think they'd have any trouble, restoring the fence. I said, well, okay, that's, we gotta talk to the senior center, so I guess the same conversation, I guess we can have, with Sean before we,
Few issues with it.
yeah.
See how he
Yeah,
does.
we can get, I think, providing him this presentation as well.
I think
Yeah.
that's great, yeah.
I'll
Thank
send it
you.
to you.
Yeah, send it over.
And then we have our first PCO. And this was as a result of our pre-construction meeting, with Audrey and first responders and.
Chief Mackey.
Chief Mackey,
Can you
yeah.
tell me what PCO means?
Oh,
Sorry.
proposed change order, I'm sorry. So, as a result of that meeting, it was decided that they really need more play area. I mean, we're taking their, you know, the whole lawn in the back, we're taking the playground. And so, Audrey thought the best solution was to use actually the front lawn and that paved area as paved play. But to do that, we need to fence it off. And so we produced a sketch, that provides a fence, that runs all the way around and ties back in over to this fence. Talking to, Chief Mackey, he wants fire department access, so we need gates. He actually took his trucks out there. We had given him a sketch of what we thought we wanted. He took his truck and actually drove the loop, marked out what he wanted, and we made the adjustment. And then, in terms of how, drop off would work and buses, they want to queue the buses on Hollis and have the kids discharge, at the corner here, walk around, come back and go to the school. But because there's no sidewalk here, they're gonna walk along the road, the entrance drive. And to make that safe, we put Jersey barriers there and then chain link fence above that, so that the kids will be protected from any cars that can go by and they can't get pushed over. So that's included in the, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just want to ask, so is parent drop-off still driving through there? So you said bus is on Hollis.
Yes, my understanding is parent drop off will be through this loop. At the end of the day, they'll open those gates and parents will use that.
Okay, because then I was just gonna say that's the same. And typically at the, I don't know, 245, there's a line of cars down, right, all the way down that thing.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, and in the morning actually too.
Yeah, oh, really? Morning, yeah, that's more
Yeah,
unusual.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, well.
So the Jersey barriers will be where?
Jersey barriers will run from here to here.
Oh,
So students walk along, then they can get past that pinch point.
Staff will still park.
Yes, that is still available, but they don't have that access point out back. Contractor has that part of the site.
But the kids have to cross a lot.
Yes, so there'd be staff there.
It'd be staff crossing guard then.
Well, there's a crossing guard that is already there in the morning at that one right there every day and the afternoon. But I don't, they may need a second one, I guess.
So,
I
Go
know, I'm
ahead.
sorry. I
Go.
just wanna, I'm just trying to make this, so not too many people park on Hollis Street, but now nobody would really be able to,
correct.
really. And now in the front, a lot of people park. There's not enough spots in our lot for everyone. So, and that's on a day where it's just like all of us
Yes,
forget anything else. So can they still park in the front?
they can.
Okay,
Do you put any signs on Hollis saying no parking during?
during,
time?
Oh, I don't know, it's a good question. I gotta check. I don't know if there was, I don't think there was any signage.
no, there's not.
No, I mean, included in the proposed
No.
request. I'll have to ask about that. So when we were putting together the package to go out to bid, I had anticipated that not enough people had eyeballs and spent enough time thinking about how this was actually gonna work. So I put an allowance in the project for temporary phasing measures of $30,000. I was close. So, we got a price, of $31,101.40. It was originally $32,782. Deb and I talked to them, we adjusted some markups and things and got it down to the $31,101. So it's just a little bit over the allowance, that we had in the contract. So if the committee, agrees with this and approves this change, it would actually be we can take the money from the allowance. The actual change order would only be for, $1,101.40. That's the overage of the allowance.
And this has been reviewed with Audrey.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the back of the building, I know you can't see it, where that that, like where the basketball courts are and stuff, how far does like the gate of the
let me-
construction gate?
Oh, I cut it off here too, shoot.
First one had.
Well, I think, did the first one? Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I think somebody has my presentation.
Oh, it goes all the way.
Yeah, it comes all the way across right there.
We're not gonna have the parking.
I'm
just
gonna
like-
be top.
So I'm just saying we should probably have a plan because there's not gonna be enough parking for just the
Yes.
staff. Because typically they go further than that, parked, further than that red dotted line.
Yeah.
And someone Hollis if it fills up. So
Yeah,
we
I
need
mean,
to think about that.
yeah, I mean, the new school is right here.
I know, I know, you
Yeah, I
have
mean,
to,
this
but I
is
just.
not new information. I mean, this is,
No, I
this,
know.
Yeah.
this has been the same, logistics plan that has been presented. So I think we need to understand, I mean, at this point, we have 2 weeks, right? To figure it out.
I'm just trying to stop,
Right.
when school starts, 80,000 complaints and phone calls and whatever. See if we can be proactive and say, okay, we know there might not be enough, what? Like, did we ever talk about using that bottom lot of the senior center?
Right.
Still an option, we're still looking into it.
And then I would just say there would maybe need to be a couple more badge entries in the back so that you're not walking all the way around.
Like, how much are you saying we're over?
Oh,
I mean, that, like, I mean, it's 3 cars, I mean, that's different than is 5 or 10 cars, 20.
it could be 5 to 10. I mean, even on the day, you can't
Yeah,
really,
sure.
you really can't. But if you go there on any given day, you're gonna see cars on Hollis, you're gonna see cars down that strip past that red line, and you're gonna see cars in the front.
Well, the
Does anybody
concerns
park
would
on
be-
Westminster?
What?
Does anybody park on Westminster?
Who's that? No.
So you're talking about that lot
all the
where
other
the circle is?
streets, though.
Let me draw, let me draw a line.
Which bottom line is that?
No, I'm talking about here. On a school day, you're gonna have some cars here. There are even sometimes some cars on this side. You have cars going well, this is basically guests. Well, it has been. So all the way here, sometimes all the way there, and then there's a few of them here, but there's a couple spots you can't. So then you have them all on these sidewalks here, which hopefully will still be there. But it's also gonna, so then you're saying that the parent drop-offs will go in here.
Correct.
All right, I know, we know it's gonna be crazy, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If you can be proactive about that and say, okay, we know that that's gonna be that way, and maybe there's another option if needed. That would probably be something to have a good idea of ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the parking on Westminster or the senior lot, Westminster's easy. Yeah,
It
it's not close, it's the school.
But it's
but
kind of
it's-
far.
Yeah, there's several things tied up with using that north lot at the senior center. The contractor would also like to use that lot. And so he's looking at, along with our office, a deal where they take over that lot temporarily. In exchange, when they're done, they would resurface it and fix the drainage problem in that
Right,
lot.
I remember you saying.
Yeah, so, maybe I can have a conversation with all of you about parking, and I think we actually have parking counts. So what I'll do is I'll check our parking counts, against the number of spots. Against the number of spots that I can count, trying to understand the magnitude of the issue, and then maybe, we can tell if this deal with this parking lot flies. Perhaps we can take some of those spots for staff, right? Say, we need 10 of those for staff, you can have the rest of the lot. It may require some.
Just make a note, that's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Some staff can park inside the lot, inside the loop, right?
It's supposed to be for
For parent drop off.
that.
No.
During the day,
During
that's gonna be
No, that's maybe their play area.
play area, just during the day.
No, that,
Sorry about that.
yeah.
It's okay.
Well, the other issue, not to complicate this further, is that you're gonna be competing with contractors, employees who are gonna be there before the school staff. They're gonna be there 24/7, and they're going to be parking.
But they're not gonna be on the road, are they? Are they
They
gonna
are.
They're gonna be all over the streets.
They're gonna be on the streets.
It gets better.
They have nowhere to park either.
Yeah.
So-
Well, then, is it terrible to say they have to park on Westminster?
No, I think we could absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Have
mean,
them
I
do
feel
that.
like
Or,
We can talk to them about
I mean,
that tomorrow.
again, I can also check with Audrey, how many buses come how many queue up at a time? In other words, how much
You
holiday
could get,
do we
you
need
could
to
get 5
queue?
buses. You could get 1, 2, I think we have 5 buses total.
Okay.
I'm not sure that they come
So, I
at
mean-
the same time, but
Yeah, so as we're talking about signage, maybe, we line up what 5 buses looks like, sign goes there, and then you can park beyond that for the contractor, because that'll be quite a ways away from the school.
but closer to the construction.
Right.
Are there vans or minibuses? Does anyone know?
We have 1, yes, we have 1 minivan and then we do have, 1 minibus. The van might come earlier than the buses. So I don't know, that can change, I'm sure, but typically I think the van comes a little bit earlier. We travel further, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, knowing the contractors, they'll park in the site too. I mean, if they're not,
Yes.
they'll park around where they're excavating and all that.
Yeah, well, the good news is we'll have a little bit of time as they ramp up. There will be just, the site guy will be, 3 or 4 people.
Right.
Plus
Right.
OG's guys. There won't be a lot of people, and it'll be a while before there's a lot of cars, and that time hopefully we'll have a sense of what the situation's like. So I guess the only action item is whether or not we want to approve the proposed change order for these temporary measures to create a paid play area in the front, walking zone for the students to get on the buses.
Yeah, I make that motion.
So
Do you want just that amount, or do you want a little bit more just in case, you talk about signs and some, should it be not to exceed or something?
Yeah, that's probably an excellent idea. If you want to say maybe 35,000, then we can get some signs out there as well, and if we have to do a few other minor things.
who knows, you might need some signage where the kids are gonna walk, like, you don't know, right?
Exactly.
I would say to go over with these.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, I expect after, the first couple of days of school, we're gonna know right away, we need to add this, we need to do that.
Right.
So it'd be good to have some money at our disposal to do that. So I think that's an excellent suggestion.
Does that, not to get too technical, but does that also include the removal of it afterwards, that number? Because I'm assuming all this needs to be demolished afterwards as
It
well.
does. It's not explicitly stated, but I'm gonna say
No, but
it has to.
yeah.
right?
Right.
So the motion will be, not to exceed an additional $5,000 above the 30,000 contract allowance. So
Yeah,
the actual approved, change order would be in the amount not to exceed 5,000. So, and I think Dr. Garceau already moved that. So is there a second?
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Well, no, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. It's not about this in particular.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None?
But the issue of no parking on hours may be something to add to your Sean list as well. If we're gonna have to have signage out there, right?
I also wonder, do you let those neighbors know that all the buses,
Absolutely.
I think you let those neighbors know that that's where the buses are gonna be that year, just keep them, right? So it's not a surprise.
I agree.
I mean, it's kind of a big,
We got 2.5 weeks before phone calls start happening. If people aren't aware of how we're going to be using the site. So some sort of communication
Yeah.
needs to go out to the neighbors. Has ONG canvassed the neighborhood yet, given their business cards? Okay.
They have not talked to them about that.
But Audrey has visited
Yeah.
a number of neighbors, and maybe, she needs a little bit of a walking tour there, again, on stage, at least.
yeah, because think about it, you're also changing how parents drop off, so that's gonna be,
Right, we talked about that. We need a new logistics plan
You're
that
probably gonna
Audrey
need,
can
you probably need like a
share
diagram.
with everyone.
That's
Yes,
exactly,
exactly.
just a text, because
Well, now that we have this approved,
Even a video, I've done video.
honestly, that's not a bad idea, we've done that before.
I think you really want to also go all the way out to Wells Street, because when kids or students there, we would park on all those
Oh, you know
perpendicular
what? You're
street,
not
so,
wrong.
yeah.
They do on these streets that are down
Right.
here, especially at the end of the day, not so much at the beginning of the day,
Right.
but at the end of the day.
Yeah, we.
There's a lot of cars that park right there, because the kids are walkers, but they're not really walkers, because they're just walking to the car.
Right. Randall, I know we had talked about this, when I reach out to Sean in the morning, I'm gonna see if we can meet with him next week. And, we can go over all this in person, and you can just talk
Well-
through the project.
I mean, they want to do the works, right? So the trailer's being delivered on Monday,
Okay,
so if we can,
right, but we still need to have a sit down, I know we've been talking about it and trying
Yeah.
to come up with a time, so I'll get some times from him for next week. But I will tell him we're gonna be going ahead and doing this, and looking for approval, feel back that.
yeah, just if he wants ONG to reach out. If not, if he wants to do it and it can't happen, then we just gotta let ONG know, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
One more thing, and Audrey probably maybe already did this, you know what I mean, like she probably already talked about this. But typically at the end of the day, the first kids to go out are the walkers. So they come out the door and they come across that, you know, that crosswalk, and then they're like all there. So now we're saying, so are we gonna have, I know I'm getting up again, I'm sorry if I'm being annoying, but I just wanna make sure. So when they let the walkers out, we can't be having cars come there parked yet. So are the cars gonna have to wait out here till the walkers go and then parent pickup?
When the walkers come out to here, then they disperse.
Right,
I suspect the walkers are gonna come out and come out to here. They're gonna use that Jersey Barrier, come out to that point and then go down the sidewalks.
but are the cars coming in at that time?
Well, the cars are probably, I expect this will, by the time, this will probably already be full, so nobody's.
So it's just they're parked, they're like idle?
Yeah,
I personally, I think we make walking too easy for parents.
We do, but
They should be
I'm not
forced to
sure
take the
we-
bus.
I'm not sure we
You
can do
can't do that, right, Mark? You can't force them to take the bus
No,
for a year.
no, we can't force them. We can certainly encourage them. though.
Well,
We have in the past.
Could you have parent pickup be the last thing after buses and, walkers?
After buses could be 3:30, 3.
You never know.
Take the bus,
Oh, I see.
you'll get to get home faster.
I see what you're saying, or walkers last. I see, I would more do walkers last, there's way more walkers than there. I see what you're saying.
Crazy.
So if they know that they're not coming out till possibly 3:35, you know, right, that's not that.
What does that do to your staff though? If someone's gotta be in there, where they in the gym or wherever, someone's gotta be watching
In
them.
our rooms, but, yeah, yeah, I mean. But it's the same times, it would be the same times, it's just. I don't know,
All right.
yeah,
Well, this is shaping up to be a trial by fire here. So we need to get this, maybe get some idea of how this is gonna work with the dismissal time so that they can go into communication. When is there a back to school night
probably,
that night?
Actually, back to school.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll throw Randall out in front of all the parents to, they'll know how.
no, I know.
If I have to go
Don't
talk-
talk to that guy.
If I have
It
to
was
go,
his idea.
if I have to go talk about cutting down a tree, you have to talk to the parents about it. I'll make that deal with you right
It's a
now.
model with like Matchbox cars.
Yeah, absolutely, there you go, and shoeboxes.
Right, well, it definitely needs to be by that night so that maybe there's,
You
There's
could be, right, an example.
Yeah.
Mhm. Sure, about talking about this, see what you think, about maybe changing the release times, so if that's even an
Yes.
option.
it's kind of
But sure,
Yeah.
I'll talk.
that's tricky.
We're just,
Because you know what,
It's
maybe
big
she
crap.
has,
Either.
maybe she has something that I don't know.
Sometimes.
yeah, something's gotta happen, right?
There's a lot of people at once. I like the idea of pushing them walking.
I think.
Are you gonna put a temporary, crossing walk where the red line ends to the gym or no?
Oh, you can strike that? You know, it hasn't come up, but that seems like a good idea.
That's
Even a
where
little
they're
stop
going,
sign. I don't know. I'm all too protective, I guess. I'm
right? I know,
I don't know if that's-
but also cars are so used to going through there right now.
Yeah.
I think the safer we can be, the better.
Yeah.
And speed bump.
Yeah, seriously.
No, those, spikes, yeah.
Up the tires.
Okay, we continue, but.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Probably thought it was gonna be quick.
I did not think it was gonna be quick. Ashley was hoping it was gonna be quick.
I'll put it in for you. And then-
Send it in a second, 'cause I didn't-
That's what you had.
That's all I had.
That was quick, Randall.
Oh, all right.
Ashley, wake up, Ashley.
He has ideas too.
Hi, thank you, Angela. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Out here,
Take care.
okay.
Be continued.
All
Yeah.
right,
Family service.
Ashley, all yours.
Okay, let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, so this is going to be a general discussion. I want to bring you guys up to speed on what's been happening over the last month and a half on site. If you've driven by both Springbrook and Dunn's, there's a flurry of activity over there right now, but let's go over a few of the housekeeping first. Let's worry about getting back into school first, and then probably in the meetings in September, we want to bring the Governor's Commission on Disabilities meeting request back up to the forefront so we can discuss that wood fiber. Permits, Springbrook has been issued. Dunn's Corner is still under negotiations with the town manager. I know Justin and Deb and the town manager have been very involved in that. I don't know if there's anything else we need to talk about on that one, Deb.
I'll just bring the up to speed because at this point, the conversations have been done behind the scenes. I'll come out and say it. We're being charged approximately $100,000 in plan review fees by between Dunn's Corner and the Westerly fire districts for plan review fees. And we are trying to understand why we're charging our own projects ourselves. There is a distinction with the fact that the fire departments are not municipally run and controlled, which gives them the power to ascertain what level of fees are required for permitting. I can tell you that in the few dozen public school projects that I've personally been involved with, I have never encountered a municipality that charged plan review fees for public school projects. I'm also unaware of any projects that are in Rhode Island that are charging their own public schools plan review fees. This has been a relatively delicate conversation that has not had much movement in the direction of having no fees. And I would like to be respectful to our partners in both fire departments. But I'm just giving you the status of where we are. Are there any questions on that, Mr. Over?
So we built the middle school and we worked in the high school. Did they charge fees at that time?
I don't know. Did they charge fees for the police station or the DPW facility? I don't know. Nobody can answer that question
How?
to me.
That's gotta be public.
I'm just telling you that.
You're not aware of any other municipality or recent projects experiencing this. We know of many recent projects that explicitly the fees were waived.
Yeah.
In numerous communities.
And the architect
So
said
I'm
they-
at a loss as well.
Right. So there's actually, this is the situation because we have fire districts, right? And not a fire department that's under the municipality. So I looked it up, there's only 8 towns that have fire districts. And we're working Burrowville, and unfortunately, project manager Steve Smith is on vacation this week, I'm following through with him. But the other one is Lincoln. And I followed through with them and followed through with their general contractor, Glenn Alborg. And he said that the permit fees are waived and the district fire department waived their fees as well. And then he got back to me and said he's working in Cumberland, which is another town with a fire district. And they did the same thing. The town waived the fees and the fire district waived their review fees. So.
What did the town manager say?
He agrees with us, with our position. but is not necessarily in the position to direct them one way or the other. So one of these, they're certainly entitled to follow the state guidance for plan review fees. There's case law that I'm aware of that applied to the Twin River Casino that allowed that districts, I think that's Lincoln, that allowed that fire district to provide full plan review fees and could not waive them, or weren't compelled to waive them. What this means to our project budget is there would be approximately $60,000 for State Street.
Well, right, so I worked with Chief Mackey and following the state fire marshal's explanation, because they also do, they could provide one, but they would charge also, is that, they list what they look at. They don't look at site work. They don't look at foundations and finishes, cabinetry, kitchen equipment. They don't look at anything. So I went through and took the schedule of values from the contractor, came up with a cost, and he agreed to it. So we would have paid over 12,000 in fees for Springbrook, and we got down to 8,000. And thank you, Cindy. We cut that check immediately, so we've got our permit. So that's on Springbrook now. Chief Kenyon, who does corners on Dunn's Corner, we tried that same process with him, and the town manager was very helpful in communicating that. And but he wants to pull them out, which is 42,000 right now. So it's 42,000 based on a cost of 10.2 construction costs. I've looked into State Street, which would be back to Chief Mackey, which following the same route that he's agreed to. And right now, I believe we're at 62,000, but if he ends up going off from the entire cost, we'd probably be up closer to 100,000. So it
So-
would be anywhere, it's all over the place.
So as it stands right now, the fire districts want $110,000 for their permit review fees.
Could be more.
So I'm just bringing this up to the committee because at this point, this information hasn't been public because it is a rather,
Do we need to do?
Yeah.
Do we need letters? Do we need, what do we need?
stay tuned.
So
Mhm.
with all the number of years it took to even get this bond passed and get this close to doing the project, and the many months we spent trying to close a $15 million gap in the project cost. And the difficult decisions we've had to make that are going to impact students and teachers in our buildings and everything else. Now for $100,000, I just think that's absurd.
Everyone on the town side has been wonderful. The town manager, Sean Lacy, has been our advocate, working to negotiate. And Dave Murphy from the building department has been fantastic. He has worked around, he knows, because obviously we're proceeding with work. He has released the MEP permits. He has done everything he can to not, impede the work, the process. So, we're persevering, but we
Yeah.
do need to.
To be clear, the town building department has waived the permit fees as
Yes.
would be expected on a public project. It's the fire districts that have not.
Right.
So.
But it's within their capability to do so.
Is there an expense to they're collecting these fees? Now, are they in turn hiring somebody externally to do the reviews, or they're just collecting it?
It's the time they put in that they're, which is,
That was my first point.
Yeah.
If it costs somebody
Yeah,
40 hours,
Right.
to do it,
Cost to them, yeah, sure.
we'll pay. If it was
Right.
simply a matter of reimbursing the time that's
Right.
invested in it,
Right.
I
That would
wouldn't
make
have an
sense,
issue.
and the calculations on the state fire marshal's website, I think it's 3,000 something for the first,
500,000.
500,000.
Right, thank you, actually, 1,000 for every, or something for every 1,000 after that.
Like $6 for every 1,000.
Right, it gets very expensive, and like actually, I mean, there's that's amount of site work in Dunn's Corner, and
So I'm understanding that they're still charging for review fees on site work and foundations that they don't need to review.
that's what Chief Kenyon is is requesting. Chief Mackey agreed that you only went for the value of what he actually reviews on Springbrook. So that one, we won that argument. I mean,
And
zero?
they're charging us for something that they're not reviewing.
Okay,
Because
something
they
to sit
can.
down about that.
Because,
Something.
but, so the feedback I got in general was that they can't waive it, but then we hear on other towns that they have waived it.
And then was that brought to their attention?
It is.
Who's having conversations on?
Right now, the town manager is, and I will likely be, I've been communicating with the town manager, but I will
Why don't
likely
we have
be.
them, ask them to come to you?
Explain this.
Seriously. We're the ones that have put in all, I'm not even joking. We've put in all that time and we've fought for this project. Come tell us.
Apparently they weren't paying attention.
Come tell us.
Well, we were able to have a good conversation with Chief Mackey. Ashley was there. We were at Springbrook, and it was explained to him. Cost is coming out of the project. It's coming out of something that would be for the school and the children. And I think that kind of hit home.
Okay, I don't think that there's any formal action here, but because it's, it's been a bit of a frustrating struggle for the project team, wading these waters over the last, few weeks, or at least certainly since the last committee meeting. So I just wanted to bring it up to this committee because it will likely become a little more public now after tonight's meeting.
Is there a date that like you would need a final decision by or not necessarily?
I would say that the inspections are continuing to happen thanks to the town side. For underground plumbing, the water service line that was put in, electrical, things like that. It's only gonna get to be an issue when the fire department has to start inspecting things. So we have a little bit of time, I think, but it would be nice to resolve this.
Where we're really gonna run into an issues with State Street.
Yeah.
O&G is gonna be looking for a permit in hand, not have a permit, so. They're already talking about it. I've already included them in, not in detail, but told them that, we were working on this side of that.
Yeah, I mean, they've operated off of site and concrete foundations permits for a while. Yeah, I just want everybody to be aware that this isn't like this. Anytime you're dealing with authorities having jurisdiction, there is kind of a delicate conversation that is in play because you want to be respectful. And you also want to make sure that your final inspections go well. Not to suggest that they wouldn't with our partners, but it's never good to be in kind of a confrontational relationship with the folks that are responsible for issuing your permits and certificates of occupancy. So that's why it's kind of been a little bit of a a political do-si-do here.
Justin, do they have a public meeting?
I don't know. I've reached out to as many people as I could in the background, but good question. I'll find it.
But I don't know.
And we have been having dialogue with the fire marshal. He's been asking some questions about what's going in the building and looking for submittals. So we, the contractor and my team have been providing that information as they ask. So there is a dialogue independent of the fee discussion. So it's not like communication has been stopped or anything like that. Any other discussion on that one?
Nope.
We're good.
Okay, this is going along the same lines of what you were discussing with Randall. I'm going to go through in a couple slides where we now have a pretty good picture of where the site condition is going to be for the start of school at Dunn's Corner. I need to take the graphics that we presented to you and the school committee and provide a diagram that you can circulate out to parents and teachers sooner rather than later. So we're going to try to get it done this week. To basically explain to them that the new circulation system, including the improved bus loop and the new parent drop-off location, are going to be in place for the start of school at Dunn's Corner. Tower had elected to take on the site work this summer. So it didn't jive with our phasing plans. This was a good thing. We've gotten a lot of progress done on the site that you'll see in a second, but it will mean that we need to bring the parents and teachers up to speed on the new circulation and drop off for the parents. This might mean educating the administration and maybe have a couple more bus monitors or parking monitors in the beginning of the school year to help with traffic. Maybe it is going to involve some police presence. You know, it depends on what the school wants to do to help keep the traffic running smoothly. So we're going to get that paperwork over to Dr. Garceau and Mark McKinnon before the end of this week. And then that can be circulated on websites and out to the parents. Is there any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I can't read the room when I'm not there. I apologize for not being there. I had surgery. That's the reason I'm out. So just to let you know. But all right. So these are pictures that were from yesterday, I believe. Correct, Deb? Dunn's Corner exterior progress. We have the primary and secondary electrical conduits in. All the site lighting conduits have been put in, along with all the Plateau Road drainage. They've done a lot of boulders, rock, and ledge removal within the road and front area of the school. Sidewalk layout and prep is going on right now. Road layout and prep is going on. And as you can see in the upper right, the foundations are starting to go in for the addition of the cafeteria and kitchen. The contractor informed us on the meeting last Thursday that they expect to have asphalt binder one coat from the main entrance to the west. I'm trying to think east side of the site. It's the playground side. So we're going to ask that for the week that the teachers are back in a couple weeks, that they use the playground side entrance to the site while the contractor finishes up the bus loop, gets some of the foundations poured, and gets the sidewalks installed in that area. This will include some parent loop parking and staff parking on site. What I mean by binder is it's the one coat. So we'll have some temporary ramps to get ADA access from the parking areas into the school. They are responsible to get this site back up, get all the egress paths working, and accessible routes to all the playground area, and all the parking areas done by the start of school. We had to give them a little bit of schedule relief, give them the extra week on the west side of the site, because they just continue to run into boulders and other things that are causing some slowdowns. But by 9/3, which is the start of school right after Labor Day, we expect the site to be completely open for through traffic with the bus loop installed and the balance of the parking to the west side of the site to be complete. Inside the building, the teachers will notice they will be done with inside the building on the 23rd, which is the end of next week. The gym painting has been completed. Corridor painting has been completed. Most classrooms are, not all, because there's some work scheduled for next summer, so it didn't make sense to paint some classrooms now. So if someone feels slighted, just let them know that we didn't forget about them. We will be painting it, but you can see in the bottom left corner how much brighter the corridors are. We've also, by the end of next week, they will have all the flooring installed in the quarters on the first floor. We had abated and removed all the tile on the first floor. The second floor corridor tile will be done next summer. Work that we are hearing and seeing on the schedule that's going to happen through the fall and winter includes the addition is going to have the steel erection, slabs and walls on the outside of the addition. Inside the building on second shift, they're talking about continuing some sprinkler installation and MEP infrastructure. We have an electric closet in the basement that's new. So there will be some workers in the building, maybe on first shift, mostly on second shift, to be continuing doing work to facilitate extension of the MEP systems to the addition. They're also talking about working on the site work on the south field, including the septic system, stormwater, and we have asked them about the asphalt top coat and parking striping. We're waiting to find out when they plan to do that. We don't know if they're going to hold that off until the spring or try to get it done before the winter. Does anybody have any questions on Dunn's?
Remind me, is there new furniture for all classrooms?
No, that was an early value engineering item that needed to be taken. We have some furniture for some of the new project lab, the cafeteria, the media center at Springbrook, a few of the offices. And then I would suggest in the springtime when we're looking at the contingency where we are considering possibly allocating some additional money for some furniture replacements if we need it.
Sounds good.
Over at Springbrook, the exterior progress has been, because we have less impact over there, the foundations have been excavated, the site fencing is up, erosion controls in place. They're also doing the saw cuts into the exterior walls that for noise, basically to prevent any noisy activity from taking place while the kids are in session. As you can see, the areas of excavation are fenced off so that kids won't have access to those. Inside the building, this has been where Tower has been doing a phenomenal job between their drywallers and their moisture mitigation. The moisture repair work is mostly complete in the classrooms. Most core classrooms are painted by now. The corridors are painted. New corridor floors are in most of the main level. I know they were working on the lower level and upper level probably this week. There is a lot of sprinkler work that has already been installed, including the mains through most of the school and the sprinklers in the gymnasium. It won't be energized till next summer, but it's good to see them getting a lot of that work done. You can see in the bottom right corner, they've started work on the structural reinforcement in order to take down the exterior wall of the library. There's going to be a temporary wall put up about 5 feet into the school. That should be put in place this week or early next week, so that that'll be ready for move-in with the teachers. They're also doing some HVAC relocation. We had a few HVAC units that were in the way of the additions. Those are being relocated to the roof. Construction through the fall and winter is very similar to Dunn's. We're going to see exterior wall removal at the media center, sprinkler work done throughout second shift and MEP infrastructure. And then just like at Dunn's, steel erection, concrete, and walls on the outside of the building. So that gives you some updates. You can see some early pictures of how transformative the painting and the flooring has been at Springbrook. It really has gotten rid of the 90s colors, the yellows, the mauves, and brought the color schemes up into more current tones. Does anybody have any questions on Springbrook?
Don't think so, Ashley.
Yeah, I think.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So now we need to talk about, we need to do some paperwork. I have a few change proposals before you and in a change order. I know it was sent pretty late, so I'll go through and explain what they are. First is a couple individual change proposals. The first one is CP8. We had realized that we had owned new display boards, marker boards or tack boards in classrooms that already had them in a couple locations. So we didn't need them twice, so we went for a credit of $1,000 there. CP9 was for the contractor was looking for the underground plumbing. The original 1960s building, we do not have original drawings for. We took our best guess based on exploratory above the ceilings of where these pipes were. We did not find them in the corridors. So the contractor needs to do some underslab scanning at some point, and they will get a CAD document that will tell them in the springtime and for next summer where those lines are going to be so they can do the work quickly with that. That's going to be about $1,100. So I was hoping to get approval on those two. They pretty much are a wash. I don't know if you want to take them each individually, Justin, or as a group.
All of them, and then we'll break them out if there are any questions about any specific ones, and if not, we'll.
Okay. CP12A and B is at Dunn's Corner. In the upper left corner, you'll see a picture of the Dunn's Corner gymnasium with the new painted ceiling. Unbeknownst to just about everyone on the project, there was a heat wire up in the rafter space of the gymnasium. This is not a normal installation of a fire alarm system. Normally, you would have regular fire detection up in those areas. Heat wire is normally limited to attics and underfloor concealed areas. So no one was aware that the wire was there. It got painted when they painted the ceiling, and the wire has to be replaced because it's not functioning. So we met on the 5th of August with the advisory group while the lift was in place in the building to get the high work done. That was CP12A for $7,200, which we got approved by the advisory group. CP12B is the balance of the work that can be done to program the new wire and do some low work into the panels. So those are the three change proposals that I'm asking for approval on today. 8 and 9 will be incorporated into change order 2 below. CP12 will be in the next change order next month.
And some backup on CP12, Mark, you did reach out to your fire protection company Encore, and they were higher, correct, than what Tower came back at.
So, just one quick question, Ashley. Devin listed that was in the list to review today, CP17. Is that not?
We're gonna talk about that one separately.
Because that would make some of these a little bit more appetizing, but. Okay.
It will mitigate some of them because that is a credit that's a potential for the committee to consider.
Okay, let's tackle these ones first. Are there any questions? This all looks like stuff that needs to be done. Were you part of the review, the technical?
Some of them, but not
Yeah.
not the second one.
Okay. Do you have any questions about any of these?
Yeah.
Okay, if there are no questions, no further questions, we'll entertain a motion to approve CP 008, 009, 012A, and 012B.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries unanimously. We're gonna just need to make sure that we get this presentation to Rose because she takes, well, actually, I guess we're sharing. the-
I can provide that at the end of this meeting. I'll send it to Rose, in a PDF form. So change order 2, is a culmination of all the ones that we've approved before and the 2 that we just approved today. CP 001R4 was the balance of the Springbrook wall covering that was in the kindergarten wing. CP2 was a sequencing thing. We did not have the testing agent in place yet at that time to do moisture testing for the first few floors that we were working on. That was approved. Hardware changes, I made some changes based on the submittals that came in. It was a cost credit wash. It was changing a few handsets and a few hinges to be in line. It was a couple misses on my part, but they washed with some credits that we got from another location. Electrical revisions is a credit for the reason I put the picture of the transformer there in the middle is Rhode Island Energy changed how they wanted to provide power to the building. They wanted to put the meter socket on the transformer itself. So we had less conduit, less duct bank, less equipment on the building. So that wound up being a credit of $7,300. CP005 was to add some wall base in a few areas that we were stripping the wallpaper on in Springbrook. There were a few areas where we didn't have new floors going in. This base will work with the new floors once Mark McKinnon does his floor replacements in the future. So it's just using it as part of this project right now for $3,600. The 8 and 9 we talked about, and then 12 was the moisture remediation that we had our emergency meeting for 2 weeks ago. If you recall, we had originally approved that amount at $86,000 not to exceed. It came in less than that. It came about $18,000 less at $68,17079. So the total change order that we're asking for change order 2 is $101,472.46.
Any questions about this? This, as Ashley mentioned, this is more of or less a culmination of the ones that we've discussed previously. Okay, good. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve change order number 2?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that one. So that will be on the next requisition from the contractor. So now we want to talk about where we are with the allowances. Randall had talked about one of his allowances on his project. We have some on ours. We had 3 allowances regarding, actually 4 regarding soils and rock. We had an unsuitable soil allowance of 700 cubic yards. We did encounter some unsuitable soils under the addition. It was expected, but it was below the 8-foot level that we had called out on the documents. That's the reason we have this allowance. They encountered a little over 300,000 or 300 cubic yards of soil. So there will be a change proposal coming through that will be approved to allot about 45% of the allowance used for the soils. These are mostly, we need a change proposal in order to allow them to bill against the allowance. So I don't think we're going to need approvals from you guys on those, but just to let you know where we are. The bulk rock, which is the excavation within the addition, is that pile of rock you see in the right side, right upper right corner. Anything larger than 2 cubic yards is considered bulk rock. So maybe about 3/4 of that pile is legitimate extra work. We're assuming that the bulk rock will be consumed by the change order that comes forward. The trench rock, we own 40 cubic yards, and that is the upper left. You can see those both left-hand photos are trench rock. Those are anything above 1 cubic yard. And we also anticipate that allowance to be consumed fully with the change proposal that's coming forward. The fourth allowance we have is a unsuitable non-hazardous soil. This was just in case we run into the Rhode Island high arsenic level soil that's common in Rhode Island that would need a different disposal than standard soil. Right now, we haven't run into any of that, so we have zero consumed on that. So we have $100,000 allowance still remaining for that soil. I would like to put the committee on notice that we do expect to continue encountering boulders and disposal of those boulders on the back of the site once they start digging for the stormwater and septic areas. We will be able to use some of the soil allowances for that. We'll convert the cost of those from soil to rock. So we'll still be able to do some accounting and not have a change order for that, hopefully. But we'll see how it goes. We might be asking for the committee to consider, rather than paying the contractor to truck them off site, maybe we push rocks over into the edge of the woods or create a feature or something on the site. We'll cross that bridge if it comes about at a later date. But for right now, we don't need any action items from the committee. And then Springbrook, you saw the photos earlier. The excavations were clean, sand and fill. So we haven't run into any boulders or rock yet on that site. We still have utility work to be done next year. So there's still a slight potential of some encountered over there for the water line. Is there any questions on the allowances?
The only thing that I would mention is I would encourage maybe to, I guess my question will be for the rock, how much of that is disposal versus handling? If, to your point, if there is the opportunity of making, say, somewhere out in the fields or close to the tree line, if there's the opportunity to maybe put a dozen of these things in a circular shape around that maybe have kind of an informal kind of seating area for a class or something, that may be something that would be a good use for it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Agreed. If we have that opportunity, we will engage the landscape architect to come up with some proposals for you guys to consider for design on that. Whether they want to do it in a row, or we already have an outdoor classroom, so it'd be like almost a second outdoor classroom, maybe further down the hill or something towards the woods or something like that. So that is that, and then this is where CP 17 comes in. If you recall, when we presented the site phasing drawings, you see in the upper part of your screen, the green area is where we had proposed to put in some sidewalk protection that included scaffolding with plywood and protection for the kids. Tower is proposing to provide a credit back to the town to not provide this sidewalk protection, and instead they would like to stop work during the bus drop off and pickup when the buses and kids are adjacent to the construction zone. This would afford the town a $17,000 credit. Fencing and the scrim, the fabric on the fence would still be provided, so there still would be protection for low any kind of debris or anything like that, dust and things. The pros that the contractors brought up, that there wouldn't be any icing or snow cleanup issues for the school, for Mark's staff, and that there would be no potential rust staining of the new concrete sidewalks from this sidewalk protection. The cons, is that we did include this in the presentation to the SBC and the school committee, so we wanted to present this to you for the SBC to consider the contractor's proposal.
Ashley, how far, are the boundary fences away from the new cafeteria? Looks like.
It's pretty close. It's probably around 15 feet. It's gonna, once they put the staging in to do the brick, it's gonna be pretty much right up on the staging. So the fences will be right against the staging of the, in the rendering in the lower left, although the seating wall isn't there anymore, that's where the fence would be. So you could imagine that if the kids are getting off the bus and using the sidewalk and going around to the left, not taking the walk right against the building, but going around to the left, they would be right against the construction fence.
Okay, how do we feel about this?
Teachers living right at the construction fence, pretty much. I mean, just saying.
Right.
And the change basically is that we are gonna have new concrete walks. They took it on themselves to, take on more site work this summer and have all this completed. So that was one of the first things that came up, was we're gonna be putting the steel structure on there. And as Mark noted, you're gonna have you're gonna have everything dripping off the top, going underneath in the shade thing. So you're gonna be putting down a lot of salt. What does salt do with the steel? Makes it rust. So now we're looking at a potential to have a nice and steamy walkway.
As long as they can shut it down at arrival and dismissal, I'm good with it.
They're not even sure when they're gonna be doing the masonry because, I know we had to pick new colors and what was the lead time, Ashley?
26 weeks for brick right now.
Off the boat from Italy, huh?
Yeah. Their schedule, yeah, so,
Yeah, we saw brick on the schedule in the springtime. It doesn't quite coincide with how they want to install windows and stuff. We're still working that out in the schedule. But I don't think they're going to be doing brick until the springtime. So I mean, obviously this would be contingent upon them complying with all safety in the eyes of the administration and the school department. I mean, if they don't adhere to their own suggestion of shutting down the site, then we're obligated to tell them that they're not doing it right. In the meantime, you could realize a significant savings to not having to pay to rent this for 10 months.
I would agree, as well as, you do have the opportunity to kind of manage the flow of traffic and exactly where the students are getting off of the bus. If the bus is pulled a little bit further out, towards the front of the building, you're not hopping on the sidewalk for the western portion of the facade. This strikes me as something that's entirely within our ability to manage between the contractor and school operations and still realize a bit of savings from some of the other stuff that we've run into. So do you need a formal motion on this, or do you just?
I would like a motion if that's possible.
we have a change proposal.
And that change proposal is how much?
It's number 17 in the amount of $17,013.90 credit.
Okay. Okay,
Second.
okay, any further discussion? The only thing that I would mention, is if there's something that we can put with some teeth in it, in the change order that this is ultimately coming, it will be formulated. I don't know if these caveats of, tying them to no work during drop off and pickup and that they would be responsible for the protection at their own cost if they fail to adhere to this. Is that, they would probably balk at that. Yeah, that's an architect adding language.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think about how to enforce it. I mean, honestly, they're making a suggestion. They have to, be a good neighbor and play nice. And, ultimately, the opinion of the administration on site that are going to be living with this on a daily basis, that to make sure that they are adhering to that. And if they're not, the administration needs to tell Deb and myself, and it needs to be brought up immediately.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's it on Duns and Springbrook. I'm just going to move on to the roof. It's one slide, so I won't keep you guys too much longer. So the roof is proceeding pretty well. Almost all of the low slope, meaning the flat roof areas, are membraned. You can see that in the upper couple photos. In the lower left, you could see that they had to do some masonry work to raise flashing heights to work with the new insulation heights that we have. Couple things that have come up. The ventilated plywood and insulation that is going on the sloped roofs, which is the shingle areas, was delayed until last week, or last week it came on site. So that pushed their tear off and carpentry work for the roofs until next week, this week and next week and the week after. So they are going to try, they've basically given us an updated schedule, they being commercial roofing, that they are going to do all the tear off, carpentry, plywood, and ice and water shield, which is the membrane that goes down. We own a full membrane under the entire shingle roof as a belts and suspenders. They're going to get that peel and stick membrane down by Labor Day weekend. They are going to clear the site of all the stored materials by the 23rd, which means they're going to move things to the roof where they will then work on the gym roof and the admin roof. Before I continue, does anybody have any questions on that?
I just ask you to state for public record that everything is on schedule and all schools will be opening when they're supposed to be opening? No, really.
I don't see any reason why the contractor's schedule would prevent the start of school on the after Labor Day for Springbrook.
We're done. We're done.
We have been given a schedule. We have schedules that show that the thing that I presented to you will be complete. I would be amiss if I didn't say that there was a lot of pushback. But the contractor is being made aware that school is starting, and it has to be done. They've known this since they awarded the contract on May 3rd. And they were the ones that took on the site work this summer at Dunn's Corner. We were looking to have it done next summer, but they took it on thinking they could get it done, so they have to show us that they can.
All right.
So
if we can just kind of let our contractors know that, if we need to have them at this meeting to kind of explain some things, then they need to be aware of our meeting schedule. I mean, it's not really, Ashley's really not the party to pin down on making guarantees about opening schools as the contractor. And, so far we haven't required any of them to be in front of the committee. But if there are issues that we hear, we're going to need to have the contractors be present to answer any questions from the committee about why things haven't been done or what the thought process is of how we're going to do it. I personally don't like the look of a new kindergartner showing up on site looking at a Grace Ice and Water Shield roof, at the main entry. But I guess, explain to us how this is gonna go.
Yeah, so this is what they propose is that, they are going to have the metal roof edge won't even be on site until the second week of September, which is around the flat areas of the roof. They would like to do that work during school hours. They have done that on other schools in the district before. It's the same contractor. They've worked with John Pagano and Mark McKinnon before. We are giving them the benefit of the doubt on that and say, okay, they're aware of noise and language and safety. And if any of those issues become an issue for the administration, they'll have to move to second shift to do that work. So we have made that abundantly clear to them. They would like to continue to work during first shift, but if they need to move, that is within the documents to tell them to do that. The roof shingles, they plan on hitting it with a very large crew on the weekend of the 14th and 15th. So they will shingle all the sloped roofs in a weekend. The way those crews work, they fly when they get going. So that this is the schedule they presented to us, and we're just communicating to you guys when we anticipate substantial completion to be by the end of September. But the roof will remain watertight throughout the process.
And we do continue to receive weekly, if not bi-weekly, twice a week, inspection reports from Garland. And we just received an overall from Dan Walls saying that they're doing an excellent job.
Yeah, they're observing the flat roof area. So the shingle roof, I don't think Garland will be doing much, but Garland will still be on site. So I think they're going to comment on I have to talk to them about what they are willing to comment on and what they're not. They might only comment on the flat roof areas.
And actually, you want to update everyone just on that one operable louver at the rear of the cupola?
Yeah, so the cupola, you can see in the bottom right corner, doesn't have any louvers right now. We had to change the size of the louvers in order to account for the thickness of the insulation on the roof. There are new louvers, simulated louvers being put in on 3 sides, and they're going to shingle that cupola back up with new wood shakes, just like it originally was. There is one functioning louver that will be installed on the back of the cupola to allow ventilation air into that cupola, so it's not a concealed space. That will not be in place until October, but it is out of view. No one can really see it unless you're on the roof. It's just a lead time issue with the louver itself. There's just no way to get it in time.
So can I ask this question? What's happening between August 30th and September 14th?
They are going to be continuing to work on the roof edge metal.
From September 9th to September 20th.
Yeah.
So what's happening between August 30th and September 9th?
It didn't appear like there was much going on during that week because they're waiting on materials and things like that. We have asked them to start looking at working weekends. We asked them last week on that. Part of the problem is that a lot of these contractors for both sites are union, and we lost a day for Victory Day. We have been continuing to tell them that the schedule is the schedule, and ask them to improve where they can.
Are the roof shingles available?
The roof shingles are on site.
If that work can be done on a weekend, why can't that work be done August 31st and September 1st?
We can present that to them. I'm just presenting you what they gave us in a schedule. Maybe it's something with the crew is not available, but I will ask them that question. We have meetings tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on Springbrook roof? We have had, to date, 0 change orders on this, by the way. We did run into one, expansion joint that was unknown. It was buried under the stone that was on the roof originally. They took care of that on the fly, and I haven't seen a change proposal for it. I don't think they're planning on submitting one. So, in the interest of the project budget, I believe that we will be, seeing the, owner's contingency remain relatively intact.
Okay, so similar to Dunn's Corner and State Street, I think we need to communicate if students and parents are gonna show up to the first day of school at Springbrook and there's going to be a roof that looks like it's not completed. We need to at least communicate that everything is watertight and it's all part of the work that's been done over the summer and will be done soon. Otherwise, there's going to be 30+ phone calls about what's going on, you know, how come nobody let us know about this?
Okay, so we will work, Deb and I can work with I don't mean to volunteer you, Deb, here, but we can work with Dr. Garceau on getting the message out on all these projects.
Okay, thank you.
And that's all I have right now. If anybody doesn't have any other questions.
Any other questions to Ashley? Okay, thank you. Anything else to add, Deb?
No, thank you, Ashley.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna stick around because I don't know if there's anything on Mark's agenda for the other projects, so I'm just gonna mute myself and stay around.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so that moves us to item 7, capital projects update.
All right, so I actually talked to you about the roof. I'll start with the ESSER funded project, the HVAC renovations. These are some of the photos of what we've got going on. Much like the roof, we're running into lead time trouble. So we are pretty much put in all the ductwork we can. Now we're waiting on the exhaust fans, unit ventilators, makeup air units. And I have some ship dates, August 9th it ships, so we're gonna get some installed, probably end of this week. I have some exhaust fans shipping on the 16th, the end of this week. I have some on the 21st next week. The nurse's unit ventilator doesn't ship until September 11th. That's the one that's, a little troubling. Although there wasn't one to begin with, so she's not gonna notice a difference. So we'll put the ceiling back, we've got the room cleaned up, and when it does arrive, we'll plug and play. The one that has the largest lead time is the Babcock Auditorium Makeup Air Unit. That is not going to ship until November 22nd. So we are working very hard to push these guys to get them in a little bit sooner, but it is just the climate we're in. So when they get here, like you see in the pictures, everything is ready to install. The inside work is all done. So when these do come, they're just going up on the roofs, installing. If it second shift, if it has to be. So that is the air exchanges, the HVAC work. Next one, we have the vestibules at both Babcock and middle school. And these photos are dated now. So Babcock on the left, you walk by, they have the window in place already. Auto doors are shipping on the 19th. They're going to install Babcock on the 20th, middle school on the 21st. The counter for the middle school is going to be middle next week. And then the final piece of the middle school is that last wall that goes into secure the vestibule. So those guys are on track to finish before school starts as well. The next project we have is the door hardware and rekeying. Lovely pictures of door hardware. Middle school is about 95% done. Ward is about 90, and they just started Babcock this week, so I put them around 50% here. Last I checked, the truck was still out there. These guys are working around the clock. They're here on weekends. They will meet the deadline. We did run into one little hiccup with wraparound plates. If you look at that one on the left, I have some very thick doors that are not standard. So we have a little bit of a custom order that are coming. There's a few doors that'll be trickling here at the last minute.
What contractor do you have doing that work?
The installers or the ones that won the bid?
I guess the ones that won the bid.
That is, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, sorry.
It doesn't jive with door hardware. It's like, but the folks that are installing it are consultants or guys that've been in the business for 30+ years and have stories for hours. You don't tell them to stop and get back to work. So door hardware is on schedule. The keying for all of these is in progress. I've issued a few out to the folks that need them now, working with the principals to make sure that the rest of them get issued as they need to. And hopefully we have no hiccups there. When the teachers come back, they have all their keys. Next project is the locker room. We are well into demo phase at this point, as you can see. So these are the middle sections of both men's and women's locker rooms over at Ward. These are the PE sections. So this is where their old showers would be, and they had some lockers. We're kind of tearing that out and making it changing stations and better amenities for them. The door in the middle of the makeshift wall is going to be a temporary door so that athletics still has access to their team locker rooms. PE is the ones that are affected by their changing rooms, which I'm told they don't even change anymore. So there really shouldn't be much impact to them. This project has a completion date of December of this year, and they are on track.
Are they working during the school day?
They will be working during the school day. Large portion of this demo will all be done before kids come back, so the noisy part of it will all be out of the way. And these guys are off the side of the building, so I don't anticipate them affecting it, but we are in contact with them. They know if they're interrupting school, they have to stop and move to second shift and weekends. They're aware of that as well.
Just out of curiosity, are all the, and maybe this is a question to all the other project teams, do we background check?
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
all right. So,
Yes.
so everybody that's on site has gone through a background check.
Right.
Okay.
The last one that's wrapping up right now is the gym floors. The final coat is going on. I couldn't get a picture of Babcock's because they're using it right away, as soon as it was ready to go. But that is, that was just getting a refinish. So that's a shiny finish. This was sanded down, repainted, and refinished. I would anticipate next week allowing them to get back on the court. Other ones that you don't see, we upgraded alarm panels throughout the district. We added lockdown buttons in Dunn's Corners and Springbrook. We've also added hold opens to both of those schools. Floors were added in various administration rooms. And then the guidance office at Ward we've added 2 new offices there. So it's been a very busy summer.
And your pipe relining.
And we did some pipe relining at Dunn's Corners.
Wow.
Those are the highlights.
That's great.
That's all I got.
Who's doing your photography, Mark?
That was me, actually.
Great job.
Yeah, I know. It's very good. And no shoes in my socks. Walked all the way out there and snapped a panorama.
Any questions for Mark here? I think, Cindy, what is what's the schedule for the next round of capital requests? I know we kind of touched on the second half of the playground ones, but.
Right, so for fiscal year 26, so starting July 1, 2025, that request is due to the town manager on October 1st. So the initial draft will come to this committee on September 11th for review, and then go to the school committee on September 18th for approval.
Okay.
Have you started working on that, anyone? Mark, I know I reached out to you today. Yeah, so I talked to Joe about it and, he said, you know, if we do the heavy lifting, that's the hardest part, so can work with Mark on that. We can get a list together, put some numbers on it.
So
Yeah.
would that be wrapped into a stage 1 and stage 2?
Yes.
Okay.
What Joe said.
Okay. So all this work that we're doing anyway, we can submit an application to the state and get a 35% reimbursement if it's approved. based on, because we currently don't have a 5-year capital plan that's under their approval. So I think what we need to understand is, what are the professional services that we need to, I think we need to understand from you guys what it would cost to submit a stage 1 and a stage 2 application for these things. So I think we kind of need to move quickly because we need to submit a stage 1 in the middle of September.
And we have some hours left in our contract for this capital revolving, so I don't think that's an issue. That's what to do about that.
Okay. Cindy, would you agree that it seems like if the money's out there, we should, because we've talked about this, with the school committee and the town council, that, the $50 million isn't going to get us, everything that we need for improvements. And we need to implement a robust capital improvements program. If we can demonstrate that we can annually get 35% reimbursement back on a capital request that's coming out of our checkbooks, then we can theoretically increase our ask every year, right? I mean, if our request is $2 million and we can say that, 700,000 of that would be reimbursed, maybe we can start asking for $3 million in these upcoming years. But what was the last request? Was it 2 or 3? It was 3.
The playground equipment in it. I think it crept up there pretty good.
Yes, but then we had reduced it.
Yeah. But if we spend $3 million, we get $1 million back, if we enter this program and it's all reviewed and everything. So, okay. Anything else? Okay. Next item is next steps. There is a invitation that our consultants have been working on for our groundbreaking on Thursday, the 29th at 3:30. Okay, so that ideally that would go out the end of this week.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay, because that consists of school committee, school building subcommittee, town council, our local representatives, and is it going to our state delegation? Potentially. I mean, shit, if Jack Reed and Sheldon Whitehouse show up to a demolition of a building, I'd like to see them show up at
If we do want them,
no.
I can't find their emails anywhere. So, they have forms you can fill out on their website for appearances. I could fill those out. How about the town officials, John?
I think everybody that's
I mean, Nancy, Dave, Murphy.
yeah.
The chiefs, our chiefs.
Sure.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
can plainly thank the town departments for waiving the
Mario, she charged on mission. Mario and Dr. De Silva, of course.
Mhm.
The principals. I don't have the new principal's name in email. I certainly want her to write that for us.
I'll send all of us.
Thank you.
Sure.
And then, I'll send it to Mike, he can put it on the website and on Facebook and send it to the Westerly Sun. And once it's out there, I'll send it to everybody.
it's open to the public, but we want to make sure that we invite
Absolutely.
the people that want to be, hold a shovel. So
Absolutely. And I have 10 shovels and 10 little hard hats for the kids to join in. They can get some photo shoots.
they'll get the first photo. I have anything to do with it.
Audrey's getting their photographer for the school committee or for something, she said. We've got someone who helps out all the time, so.
Okay.
It'll be great.
Okay, so stay tuned on that. I think we need to notice a meeting for that. We're having all of our folks attend. So I guess I can catch up with Rose on that, but you don't foresee us needing to meet on the 28th, correct?
I do not know. No, I don't know. Excuse me, we have all our, the invoices are the most important to keep the projects going now. So, meeting that first or second week of the month is important. So we would be meeting then on
September 11th and September 25th.
11, okay.
So we'll get back to meeting, twice a month. And then, kind of play it by ear. If there's nothing that needs to be addressed, there are a couple ones in here already that, would be. So just, we'd have September 11th, September 25th, October 9th, October 23rd, November 13th, likely not November 27th, because that's the day before Thanksgiving, December 11th, and not the 25th. So plan on meeting, at least scheduling to meet twice in September and October, once in November, December, and we'll probably get back to the bi-weekly in the new year after that, and just play it by ear. If there's nothing that needs to be reviewed or PCOs to review, maybe we'll cancel some of these meetings, but so far so good. Okay, anything that anybody else wants to bring up? Okay, I know this has been kind of a long one today, but thank you. No further public comment, so we'll move on to, would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So move. Second.
All those in favor?